Hey there, this is Lucius Laframboise from ENG Suite, and today we are going to continue our Excel VBA basics. This is we're getting real close to wrapping up everything you need to know and all those short little videos with events here today. This is a big one. Once we learn this, we can really start using all of those little things that we've already learned about to make some really awesome automated document templates. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to learn about where we put these events. So if you see in here, we have our different modules, and on the side you have different projects. So like these are some add-ins, the Solver XLAM, the QE Suite XLAM. Those are different add-ins that we have access to in this project. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into our actual VBA project book 1. That's the name of this workbook. That's what we want to be in, and we want to look for the sheet that we're editing. So right now I have two sheets, sheet 1 and sheet 2, and I want to do sheet 1. So I'll double click on that and it opens up the VBA for that sheet. So now that I'm in this sheet, we can start making our Excel VBA events. So the first one that we're going to work with is the Activate. So to create our Activate event handler, we'll type in private sub worksheet _ activate. Okay, so now we've created an event handler for the worksheet activate event. So anytime you activate this sheet, it's going to run the code that's inside of this sub here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to message box. We're going to say sheet activated, and we're going to use an and sign, an ampersand, and we are going to say active sheet dot name. So what's going to happen is it's just going to message box that we activated the sheet with the sheet name. So if we come in here, we're currently on sheet 1, so now we're on sheet 2 here, and when we click on sheet 1, it says message box sheet activated sheet 1. And again, when we switch over to sheet 2, it's not doing anything because our code is only in sheet 1. Okay, so that's how we do worksheet activate. Now there's kind of a sister function to this, and we're going to just copy and paste, and instead of activate, it is deactivate. And we will say deactivated and our active sheet name. So here we are, we're on sheet 1, and when I activate a different sheet, I'm deactivating this sheet. Let's see what happens. Sheet deactivated, sheet 2 though. Okay, so what you're going to see is that it said sheet 2 because when that function deactivate was handled, when that event was handled, we had already changed active sheets. So why did that happen? Well, if you think about it, the deactivate event handler happens when it was deactivated. And the only way to deactivate a sheet in Excel is to activate another. And to see that, let's copy this, and we'll go into the sheet 2 VBA module. And now that we have this, it will also run on sheet 2 activate. So we get back over to sheet 1. Okay, so what we're going to see here is the order that the events fire. Sheet deactivated, and then the sheet activates. So the handlers, the deactivate is handled before the activate, but the new sheet has to be, the active sheet changes before either of them fire. So that's just something that you really want to be aware of when it comes to handling your events. So if we come back in here and we go back to sheet 1. Okay, awesome. So here we are in our sheet 1 module, and now we're going to start working on some cell event handlers. So this one we're going to say private sub worksheet _ BeforeDoubleClick. Okay, so this is going to handle the event when you double click on a cell, but it's going to take in a couple of parameters. So first we're going to take by val target as range, and then cancel as Boolean. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to message box, and we'll say BeforeDoubleClick ampersand, and we want to get our target address. So the address of our target. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to see what's actually happening. So now I'm going to get rid of those activate and deactivate events because we don't care about them anymore. So now we go back in here. And remember, when we click around, nothing's happening because this is a double click event. So when I double click, before double click on C3. So let's double click over here, before double click on G1. So that target is the actual cell that you have double clicked on. Okay, so let's take a look at cancel. So what happens if we use the cancel? So now what we're going to do is we're going to message box and we're going to say cancel and cancel. Okay, let's go back into our workbook, double click. Our cancel is false. But what happens if we set, oops, I'm in that cell again. What happens if we set our cancel equals true? We'll just message box cancel one more time. Say cancel now and cancel. So initially our cancel is false. Our cancel is false. We now say it's true, and you'll see we actually canceled the event. So I'm going to get rid of both of these. Okay. And if we double click, our cancel is true, nothing happens. But if it's false, it executes the double click. So by setting your cancel to true, you can actually cancel the event. So like, let's say you have some logic in there that if it's a certain value or if it's a certain cell, you can actually cancel the double click based on your event handler. So that's pretty cool. We have another one that's kind of a sister function to this, and we will just delete the double. So this is worksheet underscore before right click. And again, it's going to be basically the same. So we're going to message box before right click ampersand target dot address. All right, now if we come in here, we got rid of the double click event, nothing's happening. But if I right click on a cell, we launch the before right click. And you'll notice, just like with the double click, the event fires before the application. So you see, we fired our event and now it creates the standard behavior. And again, just like the other one, we can set cancel equal to true. And now we should not get that menu. Okay, awesome. So that is before double click and before right click. Now we want to get to worksheet calculate. So again, private sub worksheet underscore, and this time it's going to be calculate. But this one doesn't have any parameters, and we're just going to message box calculate. Okay, so now we come in here. You'll see nothing's happening. But if we say 1 plus, and let's just say A1, enter. Oop, argument not optional. Let's see here. Let's try this. There we go. Just a mix-up in the quotation marks. So if we calculate a cell, we get calculate. If we change the cell that it's dependent on, we get calculate. So that allows you to handle things whenever your workbook fires a calculation. So we have activated. When we come over, nothing happens. But if you were to open up your workbook, depending on how you have the formula set up, it may recalculate. Anytime something on that sheet recalculates, it fires this event. However, you'll notice there's no information on which cell was calculated. So if that's the kind of information that you need to handle that event properly, you're actually going to want to use the worksheet change. So change, open up our parentheses here, and again, it's a bival target as range. And what we're going to do is we're going to say message box, and we're going to say changed, oops, double quotations, changed, space, double quotation, ampersand, target dot, and then we'll say address, ampersand, space 2, ampersand, and then we're going to say ampersand again, and target dot value. Okay, so now whenever we change a cell, we're going to get changed the address to the value. So let's try this. We come in here and let's say 13, change cell E3 to 13. Now what happens if we do something that runs a function? We get changed A1 to 2. Okay, so it does not handle a calculation. It only handles the actual cell that you physically changed. So for example, let's say we do equals that cell times 2. We get G4 changed to 26. It only handles the value there because we can have it print formula. We chose to do value. Again, it only takes the cell that you changed, not any of its calculation counterparts. So in that event, if you are more worried about calculating, use the calculate event, but you do lose the target. Okay, so now we have a couple more here. We're going to do worksheet selection changed. Sub worksheet selection change by val. Oops. Target as range. And we're going to say message box. And again, we're just going to basically print out that our new selection is target.address. All right, now if we come in here, when we change our selection, we get that printed out. So we can handle any sort of selection changes with that. Okay, so those are probably the ones you would use the most, but we do have two more. So next we're going to look at private worksheet, and this one is FollowHyperlink by val, target as hyperlink. Val target as hyperlink. Oh, I forgot to add in the sub. There we go. Okay, now in here we are just going to message box target dot address. All right, now if we come into our worksheet, in here I'm going to Control K and I'm going to say https // and we're going to do engsuite.org/QE-suite. If we follow that, again, there you go. It fired that event and it opened up the QE Suite web page. Okay, awesome. We only have one more, and for this, we're going to need a pivot table. Okay, so here we have just a basic pivot table demo. This one just has some random data in here to show you what would happen. We have not gone into actually using pivot tables in Excel VBA. Maybe that'll be something we go into in the future. Please let us know if that's something you're interested in. I know lots of people use pivot tables, but it's not necessarily quite as common in the engineering world. So again, if that's something you're interested in, be sure to reach out. My email is in the description. Otherwise, you can always reach out to our support, rr.help@engsuite.org, and you will get connected with someone that can help you out. Okay, so we have this pivot table. Now we are going to use it in Excel VBA. So because this is on sheet 2, we're in the sheet 2 module. We're going to say private sub, again, worksheet _ pivot table update. Again, this one has a target. So by val target as pivot table. Awesome. And now we just want to message box, and in this case we'll say pivot table updated. And we are going to just print out our pivot table, target dot name. And again, this target is a pivot table. You can use all of your Excel VBA pivot table methods and properties with it. If we do anything, you'll see pivot table updated, pivot table 2. So that is pretty much it for Excel worksheet events. We're going to do some really cool stuff, such as some more complicated formatting and formulas. And I am super excited to get into that with you. If you have any questions, please reach out. We're always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and please do something awesome.